Hey, honey.
Yes, Barry?
Let's get out of here.
Where are we going?
Where do we always go?
Fascina el viento, este ritmo de palmas, sin naturaleza, hasta encontrar la playa. Por eso grito al mundo, yo soy de Puerto Vallarta. Samba de Puerto Vallarta, noche de arrullo en el mar. Samba de Puerto Vallarta.
Hello, fellow travelers, and welcome to this episode of the Puerto Vallarta Travel Show. I'm your host, Barry Kessler, and I'm just so happy to be introducing you to my favorite vacation destination. Hey, maybe it's even yours, and that's Puerto Vallarta, Mexico. That music you're listening to is performed by Alberto Perez, and Alberto is the owner of the Lapa Lapa group of restaurants. Those are the Lapa Lapa, Puerto Vallarta's oldest restaurant on the famous Los Muertos beach, and then there's the El Dorado restaurant and beach club right next door. So you can enjoy that fantastic view of the Los Muertos Pier, all lit up at night in beautiful colors, or during the day in its grand splendor for breakfast, lunch, or dinner, seated with your toes in the sand right at the water's edge. It's so romantic. It's so Puerto Vallarta, my friends. This week we are having a burger in paradise. We're going to head to Plaza Marina, which is on the main drag, Avenida Francisco Medina Asensio. It's near the airport. We're going to be heading to Gene's All American Hamburgers. We'll meet the owner, Hal Hilton. He's going to fill us in on his smash-style burgers and his amazing brisket and what it's like to run a business on the main drag in Puerto Vallarta. But before we get to Hal and to his burger biz, we have some news and some emails, and we even have a planned meet and greet coming up if you're going to be in town. So before we get to those announcements, let's see what's happening this week in Puerto Vallarta, the 21st day of June, 2023. Well, it seems Puerto Vallarta has finally made the big time. They're finally going to get their own passport office. This is from the Banderas News. Puerto Vallarta passport office scheduled to open soon. This is dated May 30th, 2023. After last week's meeting with the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, Puerto Vallarta Mayor Professor Luis Alberto Michel Rodriguez announced that the long-awaited passport office, where citizens can complete the paperwork and receive their travel document on the same day, will soon open at Puerto Magico. Last August, the Director of Strategic Projects, Jose Martinez-Gil, met in this city with the National Director of the SRE offices, Carlos Candelaria, who pointed out the feasibility of the project. Since then, the people of Puerto Vallarta have been anticipating the opening of the passport office, which will significantly reduce the wait times and eliminate altogether the need to travel to other cities for processing. Last week, SRE personnel came to the city with the objective of fine-tuning details for the opening of the new passport office at Puerto Mágico, whose development is well underway, so that in a few months they can begin serving the people of Puerto Vallarta. According to what the Director of Strategic Projects, Jose Francisco Martinez-Gil, previously revealed, the Secretary of Foreign Affairs, Marcelo Ebrard Casaubon, is expected to attend the opening of this new office, which will be able to process up to 400 passports a day. So very interesting news. I have a link to that article from the Banderas News in the show notes. You can find it at www.puertovallartatravelshow.com. And hey, if you're going to be in town, there is going to be a mariachi festival coming up in Puerto Vallarta. This is also from the Banderas News. Puerto Vallarta, Jalisco, Mexico, from June 27th till July 1st. Puerto Vallarta will host Al Calor del Mariachi, a festival that celebrates Mexican mariachi music, culture, and tradition through performances, dance events, and cultural displays. The festival is dedicated to the mariachi culture and the education and professionalization of the new generations of musicians. To accomplish this, the Al Calor del Mariachi Summer Festival program includes workshops, conferences, and shows based at the Sheraton Bougainville's Resort and Convention Center. We all know where that is, in Puerto Vallarta. The educational program will include 3 consecutive days of professional workshops and master classes for mariachi, intermediate and advanced levels, led by Mariachi Nuevo Tecalitlan and its general director, Maestro Angel Martinez. In addition to workshops, contests, conferences, and training, there will also be an artistic program with events that are open to the general public, and that includes an outdoor concert at the Los Arcos Amphitheater on Thursday, June the 29th. It's a free event. A commercial exhibition over at the Sheraton Bougainville's Exhibition Hall. There will be free access to this on June 28th, 29th, and 30th. A mariachi-themed painting and photography exhibition, which is also a free event. That's going to be June 25th through the 28th at Casa de Cultura. A Nuevo Tecatitlan mariachi concert at the Convention Center. Events with cost, June 30th. And a Thanksgiving Mass at Our Lady of Guadalupe in downtown Puerto Vallarta on July the 1st. Most of the funds raised by the festival will be used to support the professional education of outstanding musicians, and more information and ticket prices can be found at the Al Calor del Mariachi.com. Now recognized by UNESCO as an intangible cultural heritage of humanity, mariachi is a timeless Mexican tradition that goes beyond influential music. It is the sum of a cultural revolution encompassing the essence of Mexico with elaborate costumes, rhythmic dancing, and patriotic values. Discover its complex origins, its distinctive musical elements, and above all, its deep-rooted significance to the people of Mexico. And it'll happen right here in Puerto Vallarta. And I have a link to that article from the Banderas News in the show notes. And by the way, I hope to catch some of that mariachi festival entertainment there when the wife and I head on down to Puerto Vallarta this coming Friday. We're going to be heading out on the 23rd of June. Just a couple of days from today, we're going to be flying down via Alaska Airlines nonstop to Puerto Vallarta from LAX. It's going to be, the cost was around $350 each for that round-trip ticket. We are going to be staying in Pitial. Thanks so much, actually, to Ray and Debbie from Canada. They're going to be up visiting their kids up in the homeland. And we're going to just slip right into their casa in Pitial for just a couple of weeks. I mean, come on, someone's got to water their plants, right? Anyway, thank you so much, Ray and Deb. I love their casa, and I love their neighborhood. It's 2 blocks from the main square in Pitial, and their neighbors are just the sweetest people you'd ever meet. They've got a taco stand, very famous taco stand, right at the corner of their street. And, I don't know, there's probably about a half a dozen more as you walk down towards the plaza from where they live. Now, the particular street that they live on is kind of interesting because it's lined with ladies' underwear. There are lingerie shops up and down the street, on both sides of the street. And it's very interesting. Now, it is also interesting because in Pitial, there are streets like that. For example, there's a busy corner with these multi-floored buildings, a couple of floors high, and they all have glass fronts. And in these glass displays, they have these lovely gowns, these gorgeous dresses for quinceañeras, for weddings, and for special events. It's very cool. It's very attention-getting. I know I've got some pictures of that corner, of that street corner in PTL. I'll find it and I'll put it in the show notes when I get a chance. By the way, if you go right away looking for pictures in the show notes today on the 21st, on the longest day of the year, you may not see it yet. I'm going to just take a little while to get those in. I'll have them in tonight. So if you go there today, take a look tomorrow. But yeah, they have streets that are lined with all different kinds of things that, like, there's one that has party supplies, cake decorating supplies and party supplies and, all the cups and everything that you need for a party. They've got a whole street that's lined with that. Cell phone places, electric places, stuff like that. PTL is really a bustling kind of place. So anyway, yes, we'll be landing in Puerto Vallarta at about 1 p.m. And we're going to get settled, and then we're going to go visit with our friend Salvador Estrada, who needs a little help. He's the man who sells candy and cigarettes and trinkets and stuff to tourists and party goers on the Malecon. He sits right near the 3 Loud Clubs. If you've listened to the show, you know who he is. But he hangs out in the downtown section of that world-famous walkway there, the Malecon, with the most amazing view of the Bahia de Banderas. It is an office with a view. But Salvador was recently widowed. Again, if you've been listening, you know that. And his wife passed away from cancer at the end of March. And he depended on her to drive him around from their house in Paso Ancho down to the Malecon, where he works, of course. And then she'd drive him and his stuff down, to a parking spot near the Rosita, and then unpack him and roll him in his chair and his big tray of candy down, and then go back up and then grab his display for his jewelry and his little trinkets that he sells. And then she'd walk that down too and help him set up right there next to those 3 Loud Clubs over on the Malecon. And she would set him up over there just south of La Vaquita, right in front of there's a big Huichol store there, and that's where she used to set him up there. That's where he sets up in the morning. And then later in the evening, she moves him, or used to move him. Anyway, it's hard to get used to all this. Anyway, he used to move him just north of Mandala, with the big Loud Club. And there's another one on the corner there. I can't remember the name of it. There's a new one now. So there's like 4 Loud Clubs right in a row there. So anyway, she moved him around, helped him move all this stuff. And, he sets up around 11 or 12 in the morning, and he finishes around 2 in the morning, sometimes a little later, sometimes a little earlier, sometimes if it's rainy, whatever. So, but she would help him and wheel him and then help him move his stuff. And his problem right now is that he can get down, his brother can drive him down, but he can't help him move his display stuff. So I'm going to go down and see what I can do to help him and maybe set up a schedule with somebody, I don't know, to help him move his stuff around. He really needs that kind of help. And, nowadays the candy and the cigarettes aren't doing enough. He needs that extra money. So we'll go check him out, see what he can do, and see what you can do for him, right, if you happen to see him. Anyhow, I'll fill you in on how that all goes. Now, Debbie and I, we're going to be celebrating our 35th wedding anniversary in Paradise this year, in fact, and we've never celebrated a wedding anniversary in Puerto Vallarta, so this is going to be a first. And our oldest son and his fiancée are actually going to be flying down to help us celebrate, and they want to see where their mom and dad are going to be moving away to, so they both fly in on our anniversary day, and we'll find an appropriate place to take them to dinner for their first night in Puerto Vallarta. So it should be a nice romantic place, and we'll fill you in on what happened there. Now, our oldest child, Zachary, he was 2 months old when he first visited Puerto Vallarta, And then again at age 3, he was there with his younger brother, Jake. But he's even though he is one of the most brilliant kids I know, he doesn't remember any of that. Can't blame him, I guess. At any rate, we found them a very nice Airbnb in Cinco de Diciembre with a killer view. And so, we'll give them a little primer. We'll walk them around the neighborhood real quick, and then we'll send them off on their merry way, just like we did, right? They don't need the old folks hanging around them. We're going to make them beg. We're going to make them beg us to spend more time with them, right? Actually, it was 37 years ago that I asked Debbie, my wife, to marry me just a couple blocks from where they are going to be staying. So we'll walk them down there and show them where that was. It was a restaurant. It was called La Casita. It's long gone. It was on Calle Panama 387 in Cinco de Diciembre. And yeah, I'll take them. I'll point it out. The two of them are very healthy. They love to hike, so the hills are going to be perfect for Zachary and his fiance. So I'll send them up. I'll send them up to the cross for sure. Although it might be a little bit warm. We'll see. We'll see how it goes for them. And maybe we'll see a little rain. You never know. Puerto Vallarta is still waiting for their rainy season to begin. Usually it starts around June 15th on my birthday, but they're still waiting for their first gully washer. In fact, I've been watching the weather report, and it looks like not a whole lot of rain is scheduled until the end of the month. So anyway, we're going to hope that we see some of that wet stuff really soon. It's really, really dry right now in Puerto Vallarta. And speaking of the wet stuff, it's... Oh, that sounds kind of nasty. So, as you know, I've been in search of the elusive, big, strong, kick-ass, honest margarita. The one that you can hardly find in Puerto Vallarta anymore. The ones that you used to get, one of those fishbowl-style glasses. And the kind that you don't see at all. And now they come in shot glasses, right? So... Anyway, I received another email from a listener with some great suggestions. This one is from Jeff and Joe from Minnesota. They say, "Hey Barry, per your podcast request for a few good margarita places, a few of our favorites. We've tried many margaritas in PV, and most are too tart for our taste. Maybe not enough, or crappy tequila. Who knows?" But the first one he's got on his list is La Playita, over at the Linda Mar, a couple miles south of the Romantic Zone. I believe you mentioned it before on your podcast. They have the mid-sized fishbowl glasses, and they're very good. I believe that they have a happy hour. And his second one is the Red Onion on the beach between the Sea Monkey and the park. Not fishbowl glasses, but great drinks. And Culture on Carranza, a few blocks up from the beach. Again, not a fishbowl glass, but great drinks. I know you're aware of where all these places are located, but I added the addresses just in case, and thank you for that. You already mentioned Pepe's and Bar La Playa as being good, and we agree. Compared to a couple years ago, prices seem to be up in most places, so drinking margaritas is definitely not like drinking 35 to 50 peso beers, but I guess that's the price that, as you said, of being in paradise, and that is absolutely correct. We enjoy listening to your podcasts. Take care and good luck with your house hunting in PV. Jeff and Joe from Minnesota. And yeah, so thank you, Jeff and Joe. I'd love to have a couple margaritas with you guys because you know where the good margaritas are. I love the picks, your margarita picks. La Playita is a great choice, yeah, and I think they have brunch on Saturdays and Sundays. I don't know if they do in the off season, but I know when the season is in. They have brunch Saturdays and Sundays. The view is spectacular, of course, from the Linda Mar of Conchas Chinas Beach. It's gorgeous. And you don't have to go that far out of town to get a really, really, really pretty beach view. I've never been to the Red Onion, Jeff. I've got to get over there. Got to give it a try. I walk past it all the time. I used to walk past it, and it used to be closed all the time. Now it seems to be open more. And when I'm in that area, if I'm on the beach, I'm usually like hanging over at the Burroughs Bar. And that reminds me, by the way, that Jim Dimitro, he just had an unveiling of his newest bronze sculpture, which is located right in front of the Burroughs Bar. I think that happened a week or two ago. And it's a cute sculpture. It's an interactive one. It's got a tipsy mule, and you can sit down with the tipsy mule, and you can have a picture with him, or have a drink with him, or smoke a joint with him, or whatever you're going to do. But I'm going to have Jim back on the show and talk about it. And Jeff, I got to try the one over at Culture. I have not been there yet for their margarita. I've been there for their beers. But hey, just because you said so, I got to get over there and check them out. You are not the first person who said that the margaritas at Culture are something to behold. So yeah, let's thanks for adding to the list of margaritas in paradise, and thank you for the email, of course. And it means a whole lot to me, I got to say, to Jeff and Joe. I appreciate it. And I also received another email from listener Julia, who writes, "Hello, Barry. Thanks for your great podcast. It's been an excellent tool for allowing my husband and me to get to know PV better, since we spend 5 to 6 months per year on and off in Puerto Vallarta. It was so nice to be introduced to Edgar Rambo through your podcast. He's such a nice man and has a wonderful soul. My husband and I see him often during our daily walks, and he's always kind and hugs each of us each time that we see him. We've purchased breakfast and groceries for him several times and inquire about if he needs anything. Sometimes, if we can't find him, we drop items off to the Starbucks on Basilio Badillo, and they give it to him. Evidently, they call him Tio Rambo. Anyway, great job with your podcast and highlighting the people of PV. Good luck with your home search and move to PV. If you need a place to stay when you visit, let me know. You can find our property on Airbnb as Casa Serra, and I've attached a link of our recommendations that we give to our renters of things that we like to do and restaurants that we like in PV. Thank you, Julia and Tom. And thank you to Julia and Tom. Thanks very much. Thanks for looking after our friend Edgar, better known as Rambo. He spends a lot of time across from the Margarita Grill. And yes, I've also left items for him over at that Starbucks across from the Margarita Grill. They're very accommodating for him. And if you don't know who Rambo is, he's a kind soul. He just turned 70 back the end of October, as a matter of fact. Rambo was severely injured when he was electrocuted doing some work out in Ixtapa some years back. And he's homeless, and he survives doing odd jobs. He dances for tips. He depends on the kindness of others. People like Julia and Tom and myself and a lot of our listeners have met Rambo and have reached out to help him. And so, yeah, as a matter of fact, if you don't know Rambo's story and you want to hear him, I will put a link to that episode that I had with Rambo. I'll put that in the show notes, and you can listen to his story. I am going to be having a meet and greet for any of you who are going to be in town. That's right, I am going to be crashing JR's regular meet and greet over at Nacho Daddy. Now, this particular meet and greet is going to be falling on the 4th of July, And seeing that, the 4th is not really celebrated in Mexico, and JR is from London, England, so he is certainly not celebrating the holiday. And so I would say, what better time to have an open microphone podcast meet and greet than on the 4th of July. So if you are in town, it will be the place to be. The 4th of July, we're going to make it from 6:30 until 8-ish. Come on down, spill the beans, and please share your Puerto Vallarta story. Let us know what you are doing in paradise. Maybe you've got a Puerto Vallarta business that you want to tell people about. Maybe you have a Puerto Vallarta charity that you love or that you volunteer for. Or maybe you have a group or organization that you want to talk about. Maybe your favorite taco stand. Who knows? Maybe your favorite zipline adventure, your favorite private driver, your favorite day trip destination, all of that stuff. Let us know. Share your knowledge with our listeners, and, they'll truly appreciate that. Listeners to the show, of course, they make the best interviewees for this podcast, I'm telling you. So come on, celebrate the 4th of July with, someone who could care less, a real-life Brit, and an American, me, who's actually longing to become a Mexican. We will be at Nacho Daddy over on Basilio Badillo 287. It'll be Tuesday, July 4th at 6 o'clock. We're going to go until at least 8, so bring your good humor and the best Puerto Vallarta stories that you can tell. I will be posting reminders to the Puerto Vallarta Travel Show Facebook page, as well as reminders to JR's page, the Vallarta Advisor, and we'll make those updates as the date approaches, so keep your eyes peeled. Mark your calendar now. The date's easy to remember, the 4th of July, Nacho Daddy, 6:30, if you're going to be in town. Now, the upcoming move from California to Puerto Vallarta has got my wife taking Spanish lessons, and she is using Duolingo. She's using the online version of Duolingo, and it's working really well for her, I can tell you. She studies a lot. I mean, she studies a minimum of 30 minutes a day, so she's no slouch, and we practice together, and I have to say I'm pretty impressed with her progress. And she tells me that she understands much more about conversations that I am having with other Spanish speakers. For example, like Uber drivers and taxistas. She was listening to me last time we were down in April for her birthday, and I was carrying on a conversation with some taxista. And she gets out of the cab and she says, "You know what? You got to change the way that you talk to these drivers." She said, "You remember when he asked you if you had any kids, and then you told him about our 2 kids?" And I said, "Yeah." She said, "But you didn't ask him about his kids. You got to do that, Barry. I mean, did you see how excited he got when he had to offer to tell you about his kids? Remember that? I thought it was really sweet. So try to do that." And so I said, "Okay, all right, I'll try to work that into my routine," right? So anyway, later that very same night, we're looking for a cab. We're down on the down over on the Malecon, and it was getting a little late. And I asked the driver how much for a ride over to Central Pitial, and it was about 11 o'clock or so. And this guy was young, a very young guy. He's kind of round, a chunky guy. And he says 130 pesos. And I say, "Okay, let's go." And so I asked him, I said, "How long have you been driving a taxi?" He says, "Well, this is my first night." So immediately, of course, I was impressed with the fact that he got the price correct. The price from Malecon to Pitial, it ranges from 120 to 150 pesos around that time of night. But then he says it's not his cab, and that it's his friend's cab. But he let me drive it for the night, he says. So anyway, at this point, I'm not really sure what I'm going to ask him next. So then I remembered what Debbie said. So I said, "Hey, you got any kids?" So this guy, it looks like he's about 3 years old, right? He says, "Oh, see, I have 2 kids." And he whips out his cell phone, and with his thumb, he starts scrolling through hundreds of pictures. And he's turning around in his seat to show Debbie, Debbie's in the back seat, of course. And he's like showing the pictures. And at the same time, he's like swerving through traffic and coming within inches of the car stopped in front of him. It's great. It was wonderful. And, so he starts showing pictures of his wife, who's really pretty, by the way. But, same results. He's swerving around. Anyway, by the time we pulled up in front of Debbie and Ray's place in Pitial, their beautiful little hideaway, my wife could not wait to jump out of that cab. And after he pulls away, she looks at me and she says, "Don't you ever ask a cab driver about his family again. You hear me?" Okay, let's get to our interview, shall we? I'm getting hungry. And it's not for tacos. All right, I know what some of you are going to say before I even get started. You're going to say, "Barry, you're in Mexico. You're going to be talking about hamburgers, really?" Well, yes, I am, because there comes a time in every trip to Mexico, especially if you, A, if you live there, B, if you're staying a week or more, when your body is going to start to say, "Hey, enough with the tacos and the queso and the quesadillas and the frijoles and the burritos already. Enough. It's time for a break. I don't want another tortilla. I don't want to see a chip. I want a burger and fries." Okay? It happens to me. I'm sure it happens to you, if you're a vegetarian. I don't know what kind of urge you get, but me, every trip down, it happens to me. And when you arrive in Puerto Vallarta, via the airport, and if you're staying anywhere south of the airport, towards downtown Vallarta, then you most likely have seen the landmark marking exactly where this hamburger stand is. And it's one of these two tall obelisk-like buildings. They're kind of rancho style, kind of big, tall pillars, really. And they stand on either end of the Plaza Marina as you look to your right as you are going into town on the ocean side of the Highway 200. And like I said, they look like obelisks. And the first one is where we're going to be heading today, and it's called Gene's All American Hamburgers. And why not? I mean, it's almost the 4th of July, right? Right, JR? So that is right. And let us go now. Let us meet the owner of that All American Hamburger stand. His name is Hal Hilton. And let's see what's cooking in our Mexican paradise. It's burgers and fries and a couple of surprises for you over at Plaza Marina, Isla 17. And let's meet Hal Hilton at Gene's All American Hamburgers in Puerto Vallarta, Mexico. Hal, thanks for coming on the show today.
That's a pleasure. We enjoy having you come out.
Tell us a little bit about yourself. Where are you from, and what was your path that led you to Puerto Vallarta?
I'm originally from Seattle, Washington. Grew up on the east side over in Kirkland. And I met my wife, who was a Mexican national, about 12 years ago. And she was up there to learn English, to start her master's degree master's program down here. And we met, fell in love, got married, and so I had come down here to visit with her family.
How was that?
It was interesting. It was very, very interesting. I'd never gotten involved at all with a Latina woman in my life until I met her, and I was missing out.
Yeah,
for sure.
Yeah,
but when we were down here, we saw that there was no good hamburger place to go and get a really good, authentic American hamburger. And so when we went back, I had some health issues. And so we determined that this probably would be a good place for me to come down and seek some alternative treatment for the condition that I had. Uh-huh. And so we decided we were going to pick up everything and move down here. And so that's what we did.
Or so she is a pata salada. She's a pata salada. She's from Puerto Vallarta.
She's actually just from south of here, a couple of hours along the beach. She's my village girl.
Oh, wow. Look at you. Look at you. You have any kids?
No children together. I have 3 adult children myself, but we don't have any children together.
That's all right. I'm just prying.
Sure.
So, what got you to choose this spot?
Our spot here in Plaza Marina actually kind of came to us by accident. We had been looking for locations around town, downtown, Old Town, and we just didn't find anything that really was, I guess, a good location. I think, and you said you're in real estate, so location's key. It's vital.
Absolutely.
And we felt the same way. And so we lived here in the neighborhood here in Marina, and we saw that this little tower was open, or it was for lease. And so my wife called the agent, and he met us here, and we looked in here, and we said, we might make this work. And the lease amount was good, so we said, okay, here we go. I've never owned a restaurant in my life. I'm an investment advisor back home, and never run a restaurant business in my life. I run businesses, but I never a restaurant.
Yeah.
So it was a little bit of a step in faith. It really was.
I bet it was.
But we chose this location because it's on the second busiest intersection in all of Vallarta. So we had a good location here.
Yeah, absolutely. And you're right near the airport.
Yes.
And so when people are driving out of the airport, they're seeing it, because this is big. That's like got a little obelisk here.
It is. That's kind of a mission style tower to fit the motif of the mall. So, but yeah, it's a nice icon here.
Yeah. So you do more than burgers. I mean, you've got barbecue. It looks like here.
We do, and it's only because we never felt like anybody was doing really good barbecue the way that I would like to do. There's other places that do barbecue, and they're good. I mean, we've tried just about everybody in town, and there's room for others.
Yeah, of course.
Just because you've got maybe one hamburger joint in town doesn't mean that the others can't participate. And we just decided that barbecue, especially Texas-style smoked brisket, wasn't available, and so I decided what I'm going to do because I like it, and I had some people that were interested in it, so that's what we decided to do, and it's been a great addition. It really
All right,
has.
so tell us how you serve your barbecue brisket. You serve it like on a burger bun? What do you serve it like?
A couple of different ways. One, as a sandwich, and then a small sandwich and a large sandwich offering, and then we also have it on a plate, so it's all kind of deconstructed. You get slices of smoked brisket and the coleslaw on the side, and then we call it Texas toast, but it's just basically a buttered hamburger bun. But the combination is delicious. It's fantastic, and our reviews are great. So.
Yeah. And you got the coleslaw. You got the. It looks like. I mean, you got a lot of bases covered here. Tell us a little bit about your menu.
Well, the primary feature on our menu obviously is American-style hamburgers, and so we started off with the American and the Mexican and the classic because we just felt that was a good place to start. The American and the Mexican, if people know their hamburgers, are in what they call the Oklahoma onion burger style, which is one of the original style of hamburgers in the United States, and kind of was born out of the Depression era of helping stretch meat using cooked onions. And the style that eventually developed was these crispy charred onions together with the meat provided this just very unique, delicious flavor profile. And so we decided we were going to do that with both an American flavor and a Mexican flavor, and they've been very, very popular.
Oh, wow. Yeah, it sounds delicious.
Yeah.
All right. And so those are... And then you've got a Hawaiian. You've got other ways you can make it, right? I mean, can you make your own kind of thing? You can say, hey, make it my way.
Yeah, we'll adjust if you don't want something on something and want to add something to others, what have you. We have no problem doing that. But we wanted to do something along the line like the Red Robin Bonsai Burger. I mean, that was when I grew up. That was one of my favorites, and so we wanted to offer something like that as an alternative to just the basic type burgers.
Yeah.
We also offer a larger piece of meat. Our premium burgers have a larger piece of meat, where the basic burgers have a smaller piece of meat, because the local economy, some of the people don't have a larger economy as some others, and so we wanted to offer something for an entry level, a little bit more easily accessible for some that don't have a big budget. So, and that seems to have worked out. So we've kind of cover both sides.
Good. All right. And you make, obviously, you got fries, you got all that kind of thing going on there.
We started off with French fries, doing them ourselves, hand cutting them, putting them in big tubs, and doing the double fry and laying them out. But if your listeners have ever been to Gene's, our location's pretty tight. And so we decided to just go with pick them up in a box. Somebody else has done all the pre-frying, and so it's worked out, but much better the way that we're doing now. But not so much work.
And you have like real pickles, right?
Yes, we do.
All right, that's good news, because that's hard to find around here, too. That's incredible. What about your coleslaw? Would you call that savory or sweet?
It's kind of it's both. It's kind of a sweet and sour. It's got a lot of sweetness to it. It's got some sour bone because you got a lot of vinegar in it. So it's a southern type of coleslaw. Mm-hmm. So people in the South will be familiar with that. It's more, I guess, akin to a barbecue type style of coleslaw. And we make it homemade. We make a lot of it. So it goes out quick, and so it's always fresh. People will always count on it being fresh. It's delicious.
And that's a Mexican favorite as well as a up north favorite.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yep.
Because they do a lot of cabbage here, so that's right down their alley, right?
Yeah, it is.
Yeah. When you were how long have you been here?
We opened in January 2014.
Okay. And then it is tight quarters, but, it looks very nicely organized, well organized in there.
You can thank my wife for that.
Yes, well, she did a great job. How many people do you have working back there?
We have a crew of 3 that start at 12 o'clock, and they work till 5:30, and then it's a crew of 3 that come in the afternoon at 5:30 and then work until 11 o'clock, so 6 people in total.
Okay, so you're open like half a day. You're open like a good 12 hours, right?
Yes, almost.
Yeah. Do you get late night guys coming in here?
Oh, we get a ton of late night people.
What's your
Well, they've just opened up a casino just around the corner here by the One Hotel up here by the airport. And so we get a lot of people wandering out of the casino, either very depressed or very happy. They'll say, a burger sounds good. And there's some businesses also, too, here at the marina, at the Plaza Marina. Here in the mall, there's a lot of condos that are second and third level over here. And so we get a lot of people, a lot of residents here. And we get a lot of people that walk by from a lot of hotels in this area next to the airport. So we have a lot of business here at night.
Excellent. Yeah, good. Well, that's the way it should be, when you're working hard. You're right on the street. You've probably seen some crazy stuff around here, have you? Anything that you want to share? Or you could say no.
We see a lot of accidents. Interesting you even mentioned that. Before you got here tonight, there was an elderly couple that had come up the road here, and I think the wife had a little too much to drink. And her husband was trying to get her to get into a taxi or into the car, and she wandered off. She actually started to cross the intersection by herself in the middle of traffic.
Oh, my God.
So I ran from the countertop here, ran out there, grabbed her hand, and I said, "Can I help you?" And she said she thought I was her husband and wanted to pull away, and she saw it was me. And she said, "Yeah, I guess I need some help." So I see that kind of stuff. Like I said, a lot of car accidents. We had one time the police chasing a motorcycle gang, and they were shooting. So we've seen a lot. Yeah. We've seen presidential
motorcades.
We've seen police caravan. We've seen everything here. So
yeah, you do, because you're right here where the
we
airport
are.
is.
We're right, kind of the entrance to Puerto Vallarta.
And if they're not going to Nayarit, you're seeing them.
Yeah, we are. Yeah.
Wow. Tell us a little bit about the challenges of running a business in Mexico.
Challenges here, I guess, are quite different from the United States, and maybe even like in Canada. The challenges, I think, is if we need things done in and around the restaurant, just the getting somebody sometimes on time or to complete the work. This is not a judgment on the culture here. It's just different. It's just a different approach. And so I come from a very structured, as a former financial advisor, I like things that are very structured. And so I like things to happen when I want them. And if I don't, I'm calling and I'm following up. and that's how business occurs, and that's how you make money and make a living. But down here, it's just a completely different attitude. So I've had to make that adjustment. That's been a challenge for me. My wife says, you just need to cool it, just relax, and everything will get done, and they do. So that's been a challenge for me. COVID-19, the pandemic, was a challenge. We believe that our product kind of stands on its own, and we've got a great reputation here in town. And so we're only off 25% this
God.
last year,
Thank God.
and we feel incredibly blessed. And we feel that with so many other businesses that struggled and even lost their businesses, we feel incredibly blessed. And so, but even so, it's still a challenge. We had to lay off kind of our employees. We told them, you can come back 1 week at a time, and so we wanted to keep paying them, and they all agreed to do that, and then we eventually brought them all back. So that was a little bit of a challenge. That's all I can think of at this point.
That's good. Yeah, because a lot of people have the challenge of keeping employees. It sounds like your employees like you and like to stay here.
I'd like to think we overpay them, and we don't overwork them. We actually they have some extra days off during the month. We have a very strange opening and closing schedule that I won't get into details here. You can check our website, and we print it out, and it's a religious practice of ours, but people have learned to adjust. So, but our employees like that. They like to have a little extra time. We think that we pay them a little bit extra. We treat them like family, and they don't have to work 8, 10, 12 hours a day like they do at some other places.
Yeah.
And so we retain our employees.
Yeah, that's excellent. That's great, because like I said, that's usually the main problem with a lot of these people.
No, we've not had that problem here.
Excellent. Now, it's Gene's All American Hamburgers. Is the full name?
Yes, Gene's All American Hamburgers, and we named it after my mom.
Really?
Yes. We had originally wanted to call it the Tower Burger or Retro Burgers or something like that when my wife and I were sitting around, and it hit her one time because my mom is very dear to my wife. We were able to spend the last 3 years of before we moved down here with my mom before she passed away, and she said, why don't we name it after your mom? And Gene's Hamburgers. And I said, that's terrific, let's just call it Gene's All American Hamburgers. And she said, yeah, that's great. And my mom, before she passed away, got to see the logo and see what we were doing here back home in the nursing home before she passed away, and it means a lot to us. It really does.
That's wonderful. Wow. Yeah. All right. Getting a little choked up here. All right. Let's go away from Gene's for just a while. Let's go out into town. Now, I know that you serve lunch and dinner here, so we're not really going to talk about lunch and dinner places except for maybe specific kinds of food. But let's talk about breakfast. Have you got a favorite breakfast spot?
My wife and I have been to Mr. Cream, both down in the marina and also up in Nuevo. I think the Waffle House, which is kind of close to where we live, over there in Fluvial area. We like going there. It kind of has that hubbub of Denny's and some of the other diners up in the States. It has that kind of feel. We like that.
Yeah.
Been to, is it Sam's Toucan?
Yeah. Freddy's. Freddy's Toucan.
Yeah, Freddy's Toucan. And their new location, which is beautiful.
Yeah,
it's a great place to go eat. So. Yeah, those are some of our favorite places.
So those are all great places, and I'd eat breakfast with you. Sounds good.
Great, let's go.
Yeah. No, it's dinner time. How about a hole in the wall? You got it like a fonda or something, some little place that.
What is the little place that's next to Pancho's Tacos down off the square there in Old Town? What's that little Mexican place there?
That is
right next door.
Cafe de Ola.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, that's the hole in the wall we like to go to.
Yeah.
They've got great Mexican dishes there. And so when we want to go out for really authentic Mexican food, that's where we like to go.
Excellent. Great.
So,
very good.
Yeah.
If you were going to go out for a steak, where would you go out to get a steak?
I would go to my house. I'd go out on my patio, and I'd fix a smoked ribeye, and I'd use my sous vide to get the right temperature. And I have my wife make some garlic mashed potatoes, and we'd do some seared asparagus, and so it would be my house.
It would be your house. You're not going to buy a steak out here on the street. Is that what you're trying to say?
We've been out to several steakhouses, and the one there in Marina, I've forgotten the name, slips me at the point. We've been there. It's a little noisy, but it's got delicious food.
Yeah,
and they got good steak. Some of the other places, they're kind of hit and miss. I'm sorry, but hit and miss. But if I wanted a really, really good steak, I'd be at my house.
Okay, all right. What about fish? What about a seafood meal? Where would you go?
My wife and I don't eat shellfish. We just eat the fish with scales on them. We descale them first.
Good thing.
We have a salmon recipe that we love at our house. But I guess if we were going to go out for seafood, there's a couple of fish taco joints up in Nuevo that are very, very good. We just went to one on our way back from Mexico City. I don't remember its name, but it's there in the old part of Bucerias.
Okay.
I'm sorry if I don't recognize you guys, but
yeah, we'll go look for it.
We know where you're at.
We'll go look for it,
We know where it's at.
Let's see. There's never mind.
They've got good seafood.
Do they? Okay.
Very, very good.
Well,
good ceviche.
And, okay. What if you just said you went to Mexico City, but let's say you were going to go off for just a day, get out of town and do something and come back same day. Well, where would you go?
Probably over to Mascota. I like that area.
Yeah, and you could do it in a day?
Just within the day, yeah.
Yeah.
It's just about an hour and a half drive, and go up through San Sebastian. I like San Sebastian as well. I think a lot of people do. They like to get up in the mountains, and that's a beautiful area up there. I like to get up over the mountains down into Mascota because the weather is different over there. It's very humid, hot here, and you go over there, it's quite different. The climate's quite different.
Really?
And it is, I guess, what's called a magic town in Mexico. And so we like how they have arranged the old city and the old town and what have you. We like that. So
nice. Okay, Mascota.
Yeah.
So what about 3 days? What if you had 3 days? What would you do?
3 days, my wife and I are going to go to Guadalajara. And we're going to stay in a nice hotel. We're going to go out to dinner, maybe go see a show, do some of the things that big city offers.
Yeah.
And that's probably what we would do.
Do you have a favorite hotel that you stay at over in Guadalajara?
Ooh, I want to say El Rio. Couple of places we like to go around to do different things. We don't like to go to one specific one.
Okay.
My wife likes to read all the reviews and go to this place. Oh, let's read the review. Let's go to that place. Let's go over here. Let's try that. I don't think I've ever stayed in the same hotel twice over there. So, but wherever we've gone, well, I know there's some great places to eat over there. Tons of places.
Yeah. And shop, of course.
And
the
shop,
shopping
yes.
there is just crazy, I've been told.
Find anything.
Yeah, well, I've been there like once, and it was like a flash in the pan.
Oh, you got to go more.
Yeah, I got it. Yeah, absolutely.
You got to go more. It's a great place.
Okay, all right, I will, just because you said so. If you had a friend come and visit you, and, you didn't have a whole lot of time, but you were going to show them one place in Puerto Vallarta. You only had one place to take them. Where would you take them to show them the town?
I guess I would call it a circuit. I would start in Old Town, walk down through the Malecon, and then up around the church, the main church there in Vallarta, and then back into Old Town. I guess that would be the downtown circuit. I guess I would show them that because you're pretty much seeing the heart and soul of Puerto Vallarta. There's obviously a lot more to it, but that's going to kind of get the soul of Puerto Vallarta. So I think that would probably be the primary place I would take them.
Excellent.
Yeah.
All right. What about a word of advice for a first-time traveler to Puerto Vallarta?
Word of advice. Don't stay in the all-inclusives. Get out. Go and see things. Go see the street tacos, the vendors. Go to the beach. Go out to the different places to go eat. Take some excursions. Don't stay just in one location. I know it's tempting to do. Actually, my wife and I are considering doing that because we do all the other activities and we want to go to an all-inclusive. There's nothing wrong with that. But if somebody was coming here for the first time, I guess that would be my advice, is don't stick in just one place. Go out and see different things and experience different parts of Puerto Vallarta so you can get a flavor of all the both the local culture and also the resort type culture. And we've got a very rich restaurant culture here in Puerto Vallarta.
Yeah,
So-
and, a great burger place, too.
We think so. We think so. And there are a lot of other good burger places here in town. We've visited them all, and they all have something great to offer. So we're very, very happy to be a part of that.
Yeah. Well, that's okay. You're way a part of that because you're way out of town. So you're the burger place right here, right?
We're the burger joint in the north end. There's a couple burger places that people like to frequent down in the old town and downtown. But when you're up north, up in the airport area, we think we're the burger joint that you come to, and that's what we hear from our customers, and we're very proud of that.
There's another tower I'm looking at over there. Is there another place in that tower as well?
There is a little taco place that's been there for a couple of years now, and they have a couple of other locations. It's owned by a family, local family. Fernando is the son of the family that owns the other three, and Fernando runs this one here, Las Mocajetes. And it's
Let me guess. They make mocajetes.
yeah, they use the molcajete to provide all their salsas for their tacos.
Oh, so they're not making mocajetes. They're making tacos.
Yeah,
Yeah.
molcajete is what you use to mix up the salsas and things. It's the lava.
Yeah, the lava bowl.
Kind of pestle and bowl. So they call that the molcajete.
Okay, all right. So they're not really
That's what I
making
understand.
mocajetes. They're just using the mocajetes to make the salsas.
Yeah, I guess molcajete is that big
It's
dish.
the
Okay,
dish
there we go.
itself.
Yeah, I'm with you now.
Yeah, well, I mean, I don't know.
No, I don't think they do that.
Yeah.
Maybe they do. I've never seen it there. I've always had their quesadillas. So.
All right, nice.
And they do. They got good food.
Okay,
Very good
cool.
food.
All right, well then, after you've got yourself a Jeans burger and you feel like you need more Mexican food because you never get that here, then you just trip on down there. Ask them if they make a molcajete. What kind of word of warning would you give to a first-time traveler to Puerto Vallarta?
I guess the word of warning would be like any destination city in the world. There's obviously some caution here that people need to take if they're going to be out walking, traveling around. Don't try to look like a tourist. Don't look like you're a vacationer or a honeymooner. Don't look like that. Try to blend in. That usually avoids a lot of trouble. I guess the word of warning would be just use the regular typical caution that I think people would normally use if they were going to visit a big city, a destination city like Puerto Vallarta. Anywhere in the world, it would be the same thing.
Yeah.
So I would caution them to just have your head on a swivel and just be aware of your surrounding.
Very good. Very good.
The culture here is great. I mean, the people are very friendly, but it's like anybody else. It's like anything else. You go to places in the States, and you have to be aware of where your surroundings are too. So it's no different here.
Okay, good. Well, that makes a whole lot of sense, and leave your Rolex at home, and take your jewelry off and have a good time. All right, let's come back. Let's come back to Jeans. How do people find you? Tell us where you're at.
Sure. We're in the north end of town on the highway, headed out of town, right just south of the airport, next to the One Hotel in the north end of the parking lot of Plaza Marina. And the parking lot here is anchored by a north tower and a south tower. We're in the north tower at the base. And as you come into the parking lot, you go around the parking lot, you'll go right around Jeans All American Hamburgers. And that's how you can find us. You can see us as you drive on the highway out there.
Yes,
So
yes. It's a big obelisk. It's big. You'll see it. You'll see
will.
it for sure.
you will.
You have a website? You got face bag? You got all that stuff?
We do. www.jeansallamericanhamburgers.com, which is a mouthful and it's a lot to type, but we're there.
Uh-huh.
And we have our full menu and our schedule, which we always try to keep updated, which is important for our customers because of our closing schedule. Pictures, sexy pictures of all of our menu items. A little history about us. We're family owned, and we think that's important. We also have Facebook page of both our hamburgers and our brisket.
Very good. Very good. All right. Well, like their page so that you can be aware of what's going on at Gene's All American Burgers. Like the Facebook page, and you'll get all the notifications as they come in. I will have all the links, of course, and pictures of the restaurant, of the inside of the restaurant, of the food. Some of these sexy pictures of the food. Hal is going to send them to me, so I will be able to put them in the website. You know where to find them, over at www.puertovallartatravelshow.com. You'll find it in this blog post for Gene's All American Burgers. You'll see actually Hal's smiling face, as a matter of fact, and a couple of his employees that are actually smiling too, because they love you, Hal. Is there anything else you want to add? Is there anything that I've forgotten?
No, I think you've covered everything. I appreciate the fact that you contacted me and wanted to profile our restaurant, and we're very excited about that. So we're very pleased you came out.
Well, I've got people that been talking about your smash type burger and all this other. They said that's the place to get a burger in town, and so I figured, why not? I'm going to come over and check it out and make sure that they were all right. And listen, they were all right, all of them. Hal, thank you so much for coming on the show today. Thank you for allowing me to introduce you and Gene's All American Hamburgers to my listeners. I truly appreciate it.
It's our pleasure. Thank you, Barry.
Thank you so much, Hal. Thank you for the hamburgers. Thank you for the brisket. It was awesome. The food was absolutely wonderful. I have all of the links and even in a map that will take you right there to the front of Gene's All American Hamburgers. And of course, you'll find that in the show notes over at www.puertovallartatravelshow.com, along with a picture of Hal's happy employees and Hal's happy smiling face too. We got that as well. And now you know about the hamburger stand that looks like it's the Washington Monument right there when you're headed down into town. It is Gene's All American Hamburger Stand right in Puerto Vallarta, Mexico. All right. Well, that should do it for this week. And next week, from Puerto Vallarta, Mexico, stay tuned for more on-the-ground reports with travel tips, great restaurant excursion ideas, and more. And until then, remember, this is an interactive show where I depend on your questions and your suggestions about all things Puerto Vallarta, and even margaritas, folks, even margaritas. If you think of something that I should be talking about, reach out to me by clicking on the Contact Us tab and sending us a message. And remember, if you're going to be considering booking any kind of tour while you're in Puerto Vallarta, you must go to vallartainfo.com, that's JR's website, and reserve your tour through him right from his website. Remember, this is a value for value proposition. His experience and on-the-ground knowledge of everything Puerto Vallarta in exchange for your making a purchase of a tour that you would do anyway. You're just doing it through him as a way of saying thank you. Thanks, JR, for being our guide. It costs no more than if you were going to use someone else. So do it, really. And when you do take one of those tours, email me about your experiences. Maybe you can come on board and share with others what you liked or didn't like about the tour. Again, contact me by clicking on the Contact Us tab and sending off a message. And don't forget, he's got his maps, his DIY tours. I've got all those in the show notes as well. Once again, if you like this podcast, please take the time and subscribe wherever you happen to be listening to it. Follow and share, of course. Or, share with a lover, Puerto Vallarta. Or give me a good review wherever you happen to be listening to this podcast. That way we can get the word out to more and more people about the magic of this place, Puerto Vallarta, Mexico. Remember, I made it easy for you to do just that with each episode I create. But if you haven't been to my website, you really need to have a look there. I have the links to the places that we talk about. I have interesting pictures and more right there in my blog posts and in the show notes for each episode of the show. So check them out for sure if you haven't already. All right? All right. Hey, thank you very much, Hal Hilton. Thank you so much. Thanks for sharing Gene's All American Hamburgers in Puerto Vallarta with us. Check out his delicious burgers, fries, and, oh my God, fall apart tender brisket. It's amazing food. I have links to all their social media information as well as a Google map that'll take you right to their landmark obelisk, retreating skyward in Marina, Plaza Marina. You can't miss it when you're heading south from Vallarta Airport. You really can't. So don't get on down. Make sure to check out their Facebook page for their hours. And you can find that, of course, in the show notes at www.PuertoVallartaTravelShow.com under the Gene's All American Hamburger episode. And remember, if you're planning to be in town the 4th of July, try to hit JR's meet and greet over at Nacho Daddy at 6 o'clock. We're going to get you on the microphone to spill the beans all about your Puerto Vallarta story. And hey, thanks to all of you for listening all the way through this episode of the Puerto Vallarta Travel Show. This is Barry Kessler signing off with a wish for y'all to slow down, be kind, and live the Vallarta lifestyle. Nos vemos, amigos.
De Puerto Vallarta, noche de arrullo en el mar. Samba de Puerto Vallarta, noche de amor junto al mar. Solo camino eterno por la playa, me encuentro junto al río cuando todo está en calma. Pronto cae la noche, me brillas Puerto Vallarta, samba de Puerto Vallarta.